Gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Moore, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And let me say first, I appreciate you having this hearing. And let me set the record straight for the people in New York. This is not the first hearing on crime we've had since Mr. Jordan's been chairman. A few weeks ago, we went to Yuma, Arizona. We saw where people were coming across the border. 106 different nations. 107,000 fentanyl deaths. We talk about mass shootings. We only had 74 people killed by mass shootings last year in America. We're losing more than that today, and just in this hearing alone, to fentanyl poisoning. So we've been out here, and we're going to go to other areas where there's crime, and we're going to have hearings because it's a concern. I mean, Victoria's right. We have to begin to address these issues that are threatening American citizens. And so, Ms. Brame, you actually took one of my talking points a while ago. Crime, the criminal does not differentiate between a Republican and a Democrat. I was stabbed a few years ago, and I was glad the DA actually charged the man for attempted murder and put him behind bars. It made us all feel a little safer. And so thank you for being here. Ms. Harrison, thank you for being here. Mr. Alba, thank you for being here. And Mr. DiGiacomo, I want to talk to you a little bit about just what we're seeing with the rules. The DA came in with this new rules, this set of rules. And are you seeing officers retire now and go into other lines of work as a result of the policies?
Well, I lost 600 detectives retired this year alone. Just to give a clear consensus on what that means, in 2001, in the terrorist attacks, we had 7,500 detectives. Right now, I'm working with 5,400 detectives, and we're doing more investigative steps now than we were done then because of the video canvases, and we're also doing counterterrorism duties as well here in New York City.
What do you think the primary reason the detectives, you're losing that experience level, why are they leaving?
Well, when you're a detective, you investigate crimes, and sometimes it takes months to investigate those crimes, and there are reports that are this high, and the detective puts many, many hours and days and weeks sometimes investigating those crimes just for the individual to be let go. And they're getting frustrated, and they are frustrated is the real
And I guess they risk these lives as they're investigating these crimes as well.
Always.
Their health?
Yes, always. New York City detectives do everything from patrol to climb the bridges and everything in between, homicide, special victims, narcotics divisions. So detectives and all police officers here in New York City do very dangerous work 24 hours a day.
Mr. DiGiacomo, I got a question. I find it interesting that when a law enforcement officer uses a weapon to defend himself or even in pursuit of a criminal, it's always the law enforcement officer's fault. But when it's the criminal using the gun, it's always the gun's fault. How do we address that in society? Why does the left always drive that narrative?
Well, it's very simple. It's the person that is handling the gun. It's the criminal element that's using the gun and victimizing other people here in New York City and across this country.
So in some sense, it must be the person, the individual responsible, not the law enforcement officer himself.
100%.
How do you find a man or a lady that wants to be law enforcement officer if she pulls her weapon in a life-threatening situation and she shoots somebody, she's going to be tried for murder, or he's going to be tried for some sort of crime. But if he doesn't pull his weapon, he ends up dying. How do you recruit people to go into that industry?
It's a dying profession.
That's it's scary for me, for our society in general, if we cannot recruit good law enforcement officers, and they're crucified by the left and the media when they act to save themselves or their partners' lives.
And if I may,
yes, please.
There's no profession, at least here in New York City, that has more oversight than the New York City Police Department. There are about 10 levels of oversight, and no one else has that level of oversight like the New York City Police Department.
And, it's typically in society, and this is for, all folks in blue cities or any other cities, often they want to disarm law-abiding citizens. And they say, well, call the police. If you have an intruder, call the police. And then at the same time, they're defunding the police. What kind of situation, Ms. Harrison, does that put society in when you can't defend yourself?
A horrible situation, and at the same time, in the name of ending mass incarceration, as they like to gaslight everybody with, they're releasing very violent recidivists with no oversight because they're removing any kind of parole supervision, bail supervision. So we do need to be able to defend ourselves in some way, shape, or form.
Is that weapon? I mean, my daughters have concealed carry permits. It's the equalizer, correct? For a lady who's being attacked by an assailant who's much bigger, much heavier, much stronger, does it not equalize the playing field?
I believe it does.
Thank you. With that, I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank the gentleman.